Very good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to panel sessions for Lancashire Innovation Festival. It's been a fantastic day so far. We've talked e-commerce, we've talked about cybersecurity, and we've got so much more still to come. A great week lined up, as we've already said. Please do go to event.lancashireinnovationfestival.co.uk and register for just an excellent week of talks, seminars, virtual networking sessions, so much more. And I've been asked this morning as well to give a big shout out to friends that supported us from Lancashire Boost as well. Boost, of course, is Lancashire's growth support hub, and if you need any support with growing your business and moving forward, then please visit Boost Business Lancashire website and find out much more. Okay, so the theme for this afternoon's session, of course, is this emerging technology, and we're particularly interested in Electech, and I'm sure for those of you that are in and around the innovation space for the county, I'm sure you'll have heard the great stories of what is going on exactly in our Electech capabilities. But we're really here today to find out a little bit more about what that is, about what Electech is, what it means to supply chains, what it means to businesses in the region, and just how much it can really help power forward our recovery from the last 12 months and what really is going on. So I'm going to ask our panel to give a brief introduction each to this session, and then we'll go over some Q&A from there. So Mark, over to you.
Thanks, Dan. So my name's Mark Bowen. I'm the Business Gateway Manager at Lancaster University, and I provide the point of contact for the cluster in respect to its relations with the university.
Hi, my name's Kate Houlden. I'm the Managing Director of Light Technologies based in Halton in Lancaster, and I'm one of the founding members and the founding SMEs for the Electech Innovation Cluster.
Hi, and I'm Chris Mayne. I'm the Managing Director of a company called Forsberg Services Limited. So we're Heysham down at the port. We provide position, navigation, timing products. Also one of the founding members of the Electech Innovation Cluster.
Brilliant, thanks. So, Kate, I'm going to come over to you first of all. As I mentioned earlier, everybody who's in and around the innovation space in the county's probably heard a little bit about this Electech cluster and what's going on. But tell us, what actually is Electech? What is Electech?
An easy way of thinking about Electech is that it's an enabler for anything that is digital. So it is hardware and embedded software, and it allows products and systems to communicate with each other, to automate processes, etc. And it's really the thing that's underpinning everything that we use in our everyday lives in technology. So to give a really easy example, it could be something as small as a microchip within your mobile phone to a control system in a nuclear power station.
So really, it's everything. Then it's the bits and pieces that go into all the electrical goods that we're using.
We can't go ahead without Electech. You know, we can't go ahead without the technology that we've got going forward. We can't go ahead without the Electech that keeps it underpinned.
Some people might have heard of in the press recently things like semiconductors, or that and all is part of this Electech.
Yes.
So really, it is a really important part of industry and what we're doing.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to mention again to those people, quite a lot of people tuning in now. So please do feel free to jump in, use the Q&A to ask any questions. Great opportunity to find out more about Electech now. So please do use the Q&A. I'll be jumping in. It's right in front of me here. I'll be able to pose any questions you've got to the panel. Chris, great overview there initially from Kate. We just started to talk about semiconductors and what's going on. There's a lot of coverage about this in the news at the moment. So tell us, why is Electech, why is it important to industrial strategy for the UK, for the Northwest? Why is Electech such an important part of all of this?
Yeah, well, to add to what Kate was mentioning before, it's essentially the building blocks that makes up a lot of our industrial strategy around Industry 4.0, which digitalization, autonomy, artificial intelligence, and you work your way back through those layers, and there's electronics components sitting underneath. So it's vital that that sector is driven and innovation continues to then feed it back up through the process. And when you actually look at the individual market strategies, so maritime, for example, or automotive, you see where they all feed into this Electech sector underneath. So to put sort of an example from a Forsberg point of view, we provide precise, accurate and reliable positioning, highly accurate positioning. And that's one element of a bigger system that could go into a ship, for example. But that, by providing that position and having that high reliance, we're enabling the operations to become more efficient, to drive productivity, and all the benefits that come through that.
Right, thanks. It's really interesting. We've got Kate, your business, Chris, your business as well, and other businesses involved. Just tell us a little bit, who are the businesses that you're communicating with at the moment? I know this start of the exercise of the cluster. Who's involved in that cluster? What's the start point looking like?
We're talking to two businesses in the Lancashire area and also round in the South Lakeland area within Cumbria, and because it's so wide-reaching, Electech, and because this innovation cluster, we want to embrace a number of the sort of the underpinning businesses. We're looking at and we're talking to a number of businesses that cover many sectors. So, for instance, I'm in nuclear power and power generation. Chris, as he says, is in navigation precision products that sell into the MOD, and we've also got other businesses that may be in lighting, in maritime, aquaculture, technology. Also, some manufacturers that we're talking to at the moment as well, and some businesses that are looking at PCB design and system design. So it's quite a wide range of companies that we're talking to and the things that they do.
Exciting, really exciting. But it's great that this is starting to come together and the cluster's coming together. All this really incredible, exciting activity. Mark, we've noticed now that obviously the work that Kate, Chris and their colleagues are doing around bringing this cluster together, and I know that yourself, the team from Lancaster University are starting to get involved, and I know that you've engaged with other stakeholders, RTC North and Innovate UK, a lot of really exciting stuff. What kind of things now, what are you seeing, how's your relationship with the cluster come about, Mark, and how does that start to go? What support does the university give?
Well, I think from the university perspective, it's fair to say that we know the founding members through individual contacts and institutional contacts, which have been developed over years. And the same with the other stakeholders that you just mentioned. We work routinely with Innovate UK, RTC North, Northwest Business Leadership Team, Boost, Elect, etc. And it seems right that we bring our resources, and I'll explain more in just a moment, to bear on making this the real success that it can and needs to be. So we're a world-class university in terms of our research, in terms of the education that we offer, and that means that we attract world-class minds, both from an academic, from a teaching point of view, from a research point of view, but also from a student point of view. These are some of the brightest people from their countries in their generation. So we have this fantastic base of knowledge and desire to expand that knowledge. And we've also got the third leg of the tripod, the resources in terms of facilities. We've got lab space, we've got co-location opportunities for business. And it's just the right thing to do. We've been working with businesses, particularly SME businesses, which characterise the bulk of businesses in Lancashire, really effectively for the last 20 years plus. And in that time, we've worked with more than 15,000 and continue to do so. So it's in our DNA to work and support, because the small businesses become the medium-sized, become the large and PLC businesses of tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll kind of look at that journey of growth in a few moments' time. We'll come back to that in a minute. Lynn, in the webinar, Lynn Gillen has posted a great question, and I'm going to kind of open it to whoever picks this up, but great question, Lynn, and that's going forward. Where does the panel see overseas opportunities coming for the Electech cluster? So thinking about internationally, where does that come?
Yeah, I'll happily take this one. So I think it comes, something we're probably going to touch upon shortly, but the collaboration between the different SMEs. I mean, we as Forsberg export about 40% of our products, and probably another 30 to 50% of those products that go into systems get exported as well. So there's opportunities, and we're working overseas as a company. And knowing what the other businesses are doing in the cluster, how we can work together, what opportunities there are from the academic institutes, how that research fits in, it creates that sharing of knowledge, a sharing of opportunities that we can bring opportunities for other companies. And also, for a point of view, I can hopefully work with some of the companies in the cluster to provide systems into other projects as well. So it's opportunities on the SME side, but then as a cluster, we're bigger as a collection of all of the parts. We have a bigger voice. We have an opportunity to reach out to other sectors and engage with other clusters and other bigger opportunities as a collective group and have that say as well. So there's different levels that you can approach this.
And what on that then, being able to kind of come together, are there support functions out there? For international trade that you've engaged with that are helping you to kind of look at and identify new markets, new opportunities?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Again, because of the international nature of the university, around about 30% of our students at all levels and a very high percentage of our academics and tutors are from the international scene. We have campuses in Asia. We've got a campus in Africa, the only British institution in Africa. We've got links to institutions, research organisations globally. But when our students or when our academics do eventually go back, if they choose to go back home, they take with them the knowledge of this cluster and the companies within the cluster, probably because a lot of them will have had the opportunity through projects and assignments and secondments and internships to actually work with them and gain first-hand experience, and they become ambassadors for the cluster and ambassadors for the company.
Yeah, it's worth noting, just to add to that as well. Within the business support, which we have the SMEs, but we also have quite a large business support element within the cluster, and the idea is that will just feed straight through to cut through trying to find these opportunities. They're brought forward, so it's a lot more of a proactive approach to bringing opportunities like this to the table, so SMEs and the supporting partners can see it and act on it.
Great.
Sorry, just to add to that, there's also some companies out there that are not in a position where they're exporting 40% of their business, but they have some fantastic ideas. They have some real innovative research going on and development going on and design in their businesses, but they don't have that. They have the ideas and they have the knowledge, but they don't necessarily have the power and the mass behind them to be able to do that. And this is where the cluster is a massive part of that.
Have you found, my next question was going to be around that, what can you kind of tell us perhaps about some practical examples, Chris or Kate, where the cluster is already starting to kind of come together, and we talked about kind of looking for bigger opportunities overseas, and great question, Lynn, and if anybody else has got more questions, keep piling them into the Q&A. But in what other ways are you able to kind of support one another as businesses in the cluster to develop and grow?
Well, one of the areas is quite simple. I mean, yes, we have seen benefits already, and those benefits are fairly straightforward in terms of just the fact that we have the businesses talking to each other, of I've had a number of conversations, and I think I can probably speak for Chris as well. I've had a number of conversations with some other businesses that I would not have spoken to before about them saying, I've got this contract that I'm tendering for, but I haven't got all the skills. Do you have it? And sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no, sometimes it's maybe, sometimes we could maybe work on those skills together. Could we get that? Could we get something put together for that piece of work? So it's not necessarily for me in terms of already, a product's come out of this, but it's just the fact that collaborating and having that kind of peer network within the cluster means those conversations just start happening.
We've been fortunate enough, we've had a couple of projects come up recently where we've tapped into the resource of a couple of the cluster members just to help us out with a couple of challenges we've had, and it's been superb, and the links to the university as well that we've built up. We've it comes back to Kate's point, having that peer network and understanding what each other's businesses are doing and the skill sets and where their skills may complement our skills, and just knowing that and having those conversations just can help get over challenges quicker and also open up new ideas.
You just mentioned that, Chris, and I know both for yourself and Kate, I know you've both done bits and pieces of work and some of these support programs that the university have got. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about, for you, how they have been and how you've engaged and how they've benefited, you think, within your businesses?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so from a Forsberg point of view, so I came from Lancaster University, so it was one of my big goals to re-engage.
Great shout out there.
Yeah, it was one of my goals to re-engage with the local university, but we also work quite closely with the University of Central Lancashire as well.
As well,
And what we essentially the approach we've taken there is to flood different departments with projects and opportunities just to provide students with a real life in context challenge, and then from a business point of view it feeds new ideas, a completely different out of the box thought into how to approach a problem, and from a business point of view it also gives us a chance to look at which graduates we may be able to take on into the business, and we've hired a couple recently into the business who've just been able to come in, hit the ground running, and are now working on some really exciting projects within the business, and just having that access, and it scales as well because we've also used consultancy and various other different parts. There's lots of different opportunities there that we've done, and we worked with University of Central Lancashire on a recent aerospace funded program as well, and that was a really good experience.
Okay, go on, sorry.
Well, as I said, from my point of view, I'm not a Lancaster University graduate, so sorry. But I wanted to engage with the university, and I did it in a slightly different way because we don't design and develop products. We're more of a service-based company. So, in terms of what I've benefited from Lancaster particularly. Is that I've been able to talk to the engineering department, also with the computing and communications departments, about what I'm looking for in graduates going forward, and therefore I've been able to take people on work experiences, and then also what I've been able to do is to feed back to them of actually where some of these students aren't necessarily getting the skills in and the knowledge within the university course that's needed for my business, and that's where I then became part of the industrial advisory board at the university, and this is where Mark is talking about this two-way communication between SMEs and the university, but I think that SMEs need to know what the route is to go down, and Chris had some contacts and has sort of pushed his way in, and I didn't have any contacts, but I've pushed my way in, and we're wanting, as a cluster, to make it easier for SMEs to have that communication and be able to get that benefit from the university.
Can I give a big shout out to something we're having in the near future?
Here's your chance, Mark.
Okay.
Get it again.
All you businesses, small, medium or large, 26th of November, date for your diary. In the engineering department, we're hosting calling it a business development day. Don't worry about the connotations attached to that. It just means what we'd like to do is interact with as many businesses as we can, so you can tell us firsthand what your needs are, be in skills and education, to make sure that you get the workforce that you need today, tomorrow, and 10, 15 years down the line, but also about what else you need in terms of support from us. So already, I hope I'm not giving any secrets away, we're talking about exploring, about creating a facility to test electronic and technology. So it's local, it's here in Lancashire, and for the use of Cumbria, of course, rather than having to export it to some other part of the country where they get the money, they improve their understanding and technology sort of readiness. Let's bring it home, let's do it here, and do it in partnership. That's the main thing.
That's really interesting, I think, Mark, because at heart, we sit as a county, I guess, geographically, and we're surrounded on the outside by some really good supply chain opportunities.
Absolutely.
Out to the north, to the south, there's some great stuff, so the county's really well placed for that. And we've got some more questions coming in. I'm going to go over to in a moment. Just what I wanted to just quickly go back to, because one of the successes I think a number of people will know about with the cluster was the Tech Lancaster programme, and I'm sure we're going to look at that a little bit more in the week, but do you briefly want to just tell us what that was and how that came about and what that's done for the businesses as well in the cluster?
Well, the Tech Lancaster came about because there were 6 companies in the area, in Lancaster, that have problems getting skilled staff. And so we these companies have been talking for a long time about this, and generally it's been engineering managers or ops managers or the technical guys sitting in the pub moaning about it. People these days don't get, haven't got the right skills that we need, sort of conversations. And so we brought ourselves together, and there was a lead company that put in for some funding for us to run our own training course, and that was to look for people that were not coming out of a university, not coming out of a college with a degree, with a BTEC, whatever. These were people that liked tinkering around and thought they might like to have a go at doing some electronics. They wanted to know some more, they were keen to learn, and what we were offering as part of that was an online 12-week course and an IPC accreditation at the end of it, some lab-based work where we got the IPC accreditation, and then every one of those people would get an interview. We couldn't offer jobs for everybody, but we were hoping out of that, and we got 130 people that applied, and we got 65 people accredited that came through it. And I think to date, I'm sure you'll know a bit later on in the week what the actual numbers were, but we had a significant number of those people have got jobs at the end of it. And those people have not come from degrees, colleges, or another business with electronics. These people are people that are just thinking, we're interested. And so carrying us on from that, as a group of businesses and specifically 3 businesses, myself from Light Technologies, Forsberg, and also Rinicom, we wanted to look at what other things we could do in the area, broaden it out just from skills and look at it from a business perspective, and look at how a cluster of businesses could have more clout and more weight and help each other to be innovative, research-led, hoping that we were going to get the university on board, which, to be honest, Lancaster University have been really keen to come on board and have given lots of resources for it. And this is what we were hoping to do, was to get South Lakeland and Lancaster area, getting them to be an area of excellence for Electech.
And I guess as well with the weekend's news around cybersecurity in Lancashire, and of course, cyber, it's not just about what goes through the online, but also the hardware and everything. So you just mentioned there yourself, Chris Business Forsberg, Rinicom, all working together to really explore this. So Chris, I wanted to ask you maybe then, what sort of things are you finding? We've mentioned skills. What other barriers are there? What other challenges are there for the SMEs in the cluster right now? But positively, what are the opportunities? What does that mean for the future? Where's the opportunities for the cluster moving forward?
Yeah, well, as a cluster, we've essentially built this so far on the fact that if we can get enough members that, and we've got a good number already in a short space, which is great, but being open to sharing knowledge and identifying things that they think they can share, of course, within reason. Being open to collaboration and finding opportunities to collaborate and driving those two things together should drive innovation, ideas, and then ultimately that should lead to growth. And when you underpin that with the academic input from research from local institutes in the area, and you add in the business support into that as well, so it kind of creates a bit of a catalyst for opportunities that we can sort of work. And what are they going to look like in 12 months? I've got absolutely no idea, but the thought is that the cluster is full of agile, reactive businesses, and that's the point. And you put good reactive and agile businesses together, and there will be opportunities to spin out from that. That's a great point. What do you need to be a good cluster business? What do you need to be? What does your approach as a business need to be? Well, we kind of created a pledge really on that, because essentially members are bringing ideas and best practice and being willing to share things that have worked. So for us at Forsberg, we've had successes in how we work through certain funding, grant funding platforms with the university, and we want to try and share why was that a success, and what are we doing in the business that is considered successful, and then I've spoken to a number of businesses and in the process of this, and I'm learning something every day about a new way to approach different challenges. And so it's that networking, being open to sharing information, and we do think that approach will help shape where this is going to go as well, because I think the other point to mention is that we're trying to build. You mentioned about the sort of challenges that we see. So we've built this from challenges around skills, trying to recruit talent to the area, trying to showcase what we can do in this area, and having more representation. But what we were really excited about is to hear all the voices of everybody and starting to look at, right, what are the challenges that everybody's facing, and how do we form this and take it forward, and try and create a cluster as well that will be agile like the businesses that are inside it.
Strapline for you. We're trying to create an innovation ecosystem. Okay, that means anybody who is in that area will benefit from it, whether they're part of the cluster or outside the cluster, because we're all getting better at what we do.
Yeah. We'll take that strapline. We'll make sure it's certainly in a tweet, and we'll probably have it as a highlight, a voice note somewhere as well. But yeah, creating an innovation ecosystem. So that's an interesting, because it leads on nicely to my next question. And again, we've still got a little bit more time, so anyone else wants to feed any questions into the Q&A, please do. We've got a great attendance for this webinar, so anyone who wants to answer a question, we can pose them to the panel. I suppose on that then, the activities there now, that there are those in the region that know about the Electech cluster and the work that's going on to build that. Kate, who are you looking for now? Who are the next people that you'd like to see join the cluster? What's the message for those people, those companies that are out there?
We are looking for members, and we're looking for members that, as Chris said, want to collaborate, or feel that they may be able to collaborate, or if they're too busy at the moment, they just even want to be on the sidelines and just keep in touch with what's going on, or they might be a bit sort of reticent and feel that, well, I don't know what I'd get out of this. Well, just come on the sidelines of it, join us. You don't have to do anything. You can just see how things tick. Within this cluster, we're not just going to be sort of having a chat to each other and making ourselves feel good. you know, the other parts of this is that we will be listening to members and saying, what are your issues? Setting up working groups. So we want people that are active. And we've also got an advice panel that's coming on with us as well. So Innovate UK is signed up. You know, Lancaster University, we know, are very much signed up. The University of Cumbria are very much wanting to get involved. The colleges are starting to listen and say, yes, well, we're interested as well. There's also government departments that are sort of starting to prick their ears up of thinking, oh, what's going on up there? You know, how could we help, etc. Northwest Business Leaders Team, they're massive organisations that can really help us. But we need the members and we need people to open up and have a look at our website, the Electech Innovation Cluster. I won't give the whole thing. But you know, we want them to we want people to come and join us. Just send us a message and say, I might be interested. What can you do for me? Or am I the right type of business? And we just want you to come in and talk to us so we can tell you what benefits you can get out of it.
I must say, you know, it's interesting. As I've seen the story evolve myself of the cluster, you know, you quite often start to see you'll be going through, you know, go to networking events or go to things and actually be surprised that there are actually a lot more electronics and, you know, tinker companies that you ever thought existed, but they really are everywhere. They're right across the county, aren't they? So we're coming up to a close now, but I wanted to ask yourself, Mark, but perhaps anyone wants to chip in on this. You know, we've seen across the UK, you know, in other big university towns and cities where, you know, clusters have evolved and they've really been able to leverage the support of the local university networks. And it feels like that's really something now. The raw ingredients are there, you know, to really kick forward with this. So I think the first point is what would be the message from the university for those people perhaps looking outside Lancashire that want to invest in this region? Sure. You know, what is that? What's that big message to them to say, come on, you know, what's the message to them? And indeed, you know, what can the university and indeed what can the cluster give to anybody outside the region that's thinking, yeah, we want to get into this. We think there's an opportunity there in Lancashire. Yep. You know, what can we do?
Simple message: we are open for business. And it doesn't matter the nature of your business, it doesn't matter how large, how small you are. If you're a one-man band, it doesn't matter. Don't be put off by the title university, okay? We are not demigods, we're ordinary, grounded people. I'm a lad from Wigan, you can't get more grounded than that, okay? So please, initiate the contact. We'll talk to you, you know, there's no pressure at all, and you never know where it might lead to. Whether it's as part of the cluster or as part of something else, or you want to start another cluster in another field, another sector or another geography, we will listen to you and we'll do our very, very best to help you.
Brilliant. And what about from the businesses themselves? What's the message to anybody who's kind of looking for support to do the soldering project or the tinkering or the getting the electronic support they need? What's the message to anyone outside that? I
think it's similar. It's just you get in touch. You never know where conversations are going to lead, and that's the most important thing. Again, the more awareness we can bring about the businesses in this area and the skill sets that we have, the more we can drive opportunities. And even if it's not with one particular business, we can point to others and see what happens from the back of that.
Great.
I never thought that this time last year, when we were just looking, not that it's a just, but we were just looking at skills last year. You know, that's all we looked at as 6 companies in Lancaster. You know, I didn't realise that a year on this is what we would be looking at, and this is something that's extremely exciting. It's something that really could benefit this whole region, and so I would concur. Just get in touch.
Brilliant. Yep. Great. Well, Mark, Kate, Chris, thank you ever so much for coming and answering and talking about the cluster. I think it's just incredibly exciting. I'm sure everyone who's tuning in, we've had a nice one. Someone's popped in that said they could tell you were from Wigan. So it's great.
I haven't got a pie in my hands. No pies.
A fellow local, yeah. No, great great to see the support, but I think it's really exciting. You know, we had some incredible news over the weekend for Lancashire, and this story about the emerging Electech cluster has been really gathering pace for such a long time, and I think it's a great opportunity. So anybody who's tuning in across the county, you know, or beyond, you know, take this opportunity to engage with the Electech Innovation Cluster. I'm sure everybody here will say, find us on LinkedIn and look for the, you know, connect and have the conversations. So great opportunity. So thank you to the panel.
Thank you.
And great, and thanks for everybody who's watching throughout the day. What a great day for digital this has been, and we've got a real fantastic final session with Mayor Ellis, who's talking to Mike Gibson and Cam Kathir about digital across the wider county. And I'm sure that'll be a really insightful conversation as well, filled with some really good sound bites and opportunities. So thanks very much, and we'll leave it there. Look forward to speaking to you throughout the week.